Have you ever noticed that most of the things you look for don't arrive while you're looking for them? You ask for signs, but you only see silence. You visualize what you want, but reality insists on looking the same. You believe you're doing everything right, but inside you feel like some invisible piece is still out of place. Perhaps no one has said it clearly. The universe does not respond to your request. It responds to your frequency. And before this sounds too mystical or abstract, stop and feel what really vibrates in you right now. Not what you think, but what does your field, that subtle space that goes beyond your skin, really emit? Are you asking for abundance while vibrating anxiety? Are you waiting for love while vibrating with urgency, neediness, or fear of rejection? The field does not respond to what you want. He responds to what you, and at the most intimate, silent and unconscious level of your vibration. And that's why so many demonstrations seem to fail. Not because they were not heard, but why weren't they coherent? The modern mind has been trained to make noise. She repeats statements, it forces positive thoughts, she feigns confidence. But the real vibe, this only manifests itself when there is wholeness between what you feel, think, and emit. There is no manifestation without truth, and the truth is not in your words. She is in her state of being. Most people don't understand this. They believe they need to convince the universe. But the universe doesn't need arguments. It just recognizes clear vibrational signals. And here is the breaking point that opens this script. You are not late. You are out of alignment. Your life is not blocked because the universe is testing you. She is in suspension because her field is emitting noise. And that noise is subtle, but powerful. It appears in sentences you don't even realize you repeat. I don't know if it will work. It's always more difficult for me. I need to run after it. It appears in the automatic reactions that sabotage you. The rush when something starts working. The fear when someone praises. The discomfort of something you asked for. And the field responds to that. Exactly. But nobody taught you that. The school taught logic. Religion taught merit. Society taught performance. But nobody taught you how to listen to your frequency. Therefore, the first invitation is not to wish differently. It is to feel different. Before you can change your reality, you need to learn to identify the noise that is sabotaging your broadcast. And this noise, most of the time, is not an energy problem. It is a vibrational identity that you have learned to sustain. You were not born vibrating scarcity. You learned. You weren't born afraid to deserve it. You have been trained. And as long as that old identity is collapsing your reality, you will continue to live the same cycle. Want, try, hope, doubt. So here's a truth you may never have heard so clearly. Your field is already manifesting. It's just not manifesting what you think you want. It is manifesting exactly what you accept as truth about oneself. And that's what changes now. In this first block, we are not going to give you a technique, we'll give you a mirror. Because the true beginning of manifestation is not the choice of desire. It is the choice of identity that sustains this desire. And if you keep vibrating like someone who needs to be chosen, you will never access what is already yours by frequency. Now close your eyes for a moment, breathe, and ask with courage, what is my frequency saying that I haven't yet had the courage to listen to? This is the first key. And she already opens portals. Have you ever caught yourself saying, I feel like the universe doesn't hear me? I've tried everything and nothing works. I believe, but it doesn't seem to work for me. If so, you are not alone. This feeling of being disconnected from the field, of being asking into the void, is perhaps the greatest silent block of the modern spiritual seeker. But what no one told you, with the necessary bluntness, is that the quantum field always responds. Always. The field has no judgments. There is no agenda, no favorites. What he has is vibrational precision. And so it is not that the universe is silent. It's just that you're listening with the wrong ears. You are looking for an answer in the form of an external event, when the answer is internal and invisible. You are waiting for a sign that seems magical, when the sign is already coming, in the form of emotional confrontation. Often, the collapse of your desired reality begins with feeling the opposite of what you want. You ask for expansion, and pain comes. You ask for love, and abandonment comes. You ask for success, and everything stops, and you think you're being punished. that you failed, that you did something wrong. But the field does not punish. He just displays the actual frequency you are emitting so you can see it. This is the true beginning of quantum manifestation, the discomfort that reveals where your vibration is still stuck. And here's the paradox. You are not being ignored. You are being mirrored. The demonstration does not fail. It only accurately reveals what you still hold as true in your emotional body, even if your mind tells you otherwise. And it hurts, because we are conditioned to measure life by quick answers, tangible proof, and logical results. But the quantum field does not respond to logic. He responds to coherent frequency. And that frequency only becomes clear when your body, mind, and energy are all saying the same thing, even when nothing on the outside has changed. The field is collapsing, yes, but maybe you're not vibrating with whoever has already received it. He is vibrating like someone who is still waiting. And that difference is subtle, but it's everything. Look, the collapse of reality is not a magic moment that happens outside. It's a point of internal coherence that becomes so stable, so true, so non-negotiable, that the universe simply rearranges everything to reflect this. But you have to be present enough to notice. Because many times the manifestation arrived, but you were so caught up in the anticipation of what it should look like who did not recognize what was already an answer. You wanted a love that healed, but he did not recognize the invitation to first heal his own lack. You wanted a job that valued you, but you refused the chance to leave the job that was energetically violating you. You asked for abundance, but still bought from scarcity, slept in scarcity, thought like scarcity, and the field returned exactly that, not as punishment, but as a mirror. Have you ever heard the phrase, "The universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are"? This sentence is almost true, but let's go deeper. The universe neither gives nor takes away. He just collapses what you hold most clearly. Doubt postpones, fear fragments, urgency distorts, mass stable presence. This one collapses with precision. So if the field doesn't seem to respond, the question isn't, what am I doing wrong? The real question is, where am I still trying to control, prove, or deserve that which, vibrationally, I have not yet accepted as natural? Because true manifestation is not born of effort. It is born from vibrational authorization. And this authorization only happens when your body stops fighting, your mind stops questioning, and your entire field aligns with a single emission. I am that. You don't need to understand how, no need to know when, not even explaining why. The field does not respond to logic. He responds to the internal recognition of being. If you are still waiting for the field to respond, perhaps it is because your vibration is still asking. But from the moment you embody the answer, in which you vibrate as if you already know, reality does not hesitate. It collapses. The question may seem simple, almost rhetorical. What's vibrating when you're not paying attention? But this is perhaps the most important question in the entire quantum manifestation. Why the field collapses right there, in the moments when you are not performing spirituality, not even reciting mantras, not even visualizing the dream house. The universe responds to the vibrational field that you sustain when you are alone, distracted, unarmed, when you close the door and the mask falls, when no one is looking, when the body relaxes and thoughts return to automatic. It is in this background state that your reality is anchored, not in the stated intention, but no field that inhabits you effortlessly. And here begins the dismantling of the illusion. You can repeat every day that you believe in abundance, but if, when you turn off the light, what vibrates in you is fear of not paying the rent, so this is what the field reads. You can declare that you trust the universe, but if deep down you still feel forgotten, inferior, or lacking proof, it is this signature that vibrates while you sleep. And that's not judgment. It's subtle physics. The field does not respond to your speech. He responds to the emotional frequency that repeats itself when you are not trying to control anything. This frequency is like a radio signal. It doesn't just stream when you turn on your microphone, but all the time, even in silence, mostly in silence. And if your background signal is fragmented, the demonstration will also be, because the field is incredibly sensitive. No need for words, need congruence. Imagine that your vibrational field was a movie running on a loop. What would this film show? Would it show a protagonist who exudes confidence, gratitude, presence? Or would it show someone who, even during breaks, Wicknulling, are you always mentally running after what you don't have yet? This is the invisible script of the manifestation, the plot you repeat unconsciously and that the universe takes as a reference to collapse its realities. Now stop for a moment and observe yourself. What do you feel right after waking up before opening your eyes? Is it light? Is it weight? Is it a concern? What do you feel while taking a shower? Do you relax, or do you review pending issues and problems? And when you're not doing anything, do you feel at peace or uncomfortable? These moments are not neutral. They form the core of your vibrational emission. And this is exactly what Dr. Joe Dispenza warns about when he says, if you wake up and think the same as the day before, you are creating the same future, with the same mind as the past. In other words, your reality is being shaped by the states of being that you are not consciously observing. This is the key. The field collapses based on the invisible, not the performative spiritual self that appears on Instagram. And that's liberating and scary. Liberating because it means you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to say the right words. You don't need to ritualize 24 hours a day. But it's also scary because it places you like responsible for the field that you yourself maintain without realizing it. And this responsibility requires presence. Not that forced, tense, idealized presence, but one curious attention, continuous, loving. How am I vibrating right now? Which part of me is in charge right now? It's not about watching yourself with guilt. It's about educating yourself with lucidity. Because every little automatic thought, every unintegrated emotion, each gesture repeated on autopilot, it is a vibrational micro-decision. And the sum of these decisions is what shapes the quality of your field. The good news? You can rewrite this field. Not controlling, but observing. You change what vibrates when you begin to notice what was previously invisible. When you realize you are vibrating scarcity in the way you eat, anxiety in the way you respond to messages, lack in the way you look in the mirror. When you notice, without judging yourself, that your life is full of little agreements with the old version of you. And when you notice, you can choose differently. You can choose to breathe before you react. Keep quiet before repeating an old story. Change your stance before blaming the external. These choices don't seem mystical, but they are quantum collapse portals. Because every time you change your auto-reply, you change your fund issuance. And when the background changes, the field responds. You don't have to have blind faith. Need silent coherence. And this coherence begins in the intervals between your thoughts. The question is not, what do you want to manifest? The question is, who's cheering for you when you're not paying attention? If there is an invisible vice that sabotages most demonstrations, it is effort disguised as intention. You say you are co-creating, but inside it is controlling. You say you are vibrating in abundance, but inside it is negotiating with the universe, hoping that he will reward you for all the dedication you have given. And here's the greatest paradox of quantum manifestation. The more you try to control, the more the field interprets that you still don't trust. The problem is that we have been trained to believe that reality bends with effort, that the more we try, the closer we are to achieving it. But on the vibrational plane, the logic is reversed. Control is read as lack. Excessive effort is read as fear that it won't happen. And the field responds to the signal, no to the stated intention. That's why manifesting something small, like an unexpected message or a parking space, often feels easier than manifesting money or a relationship. Because in small desires, you release. You don't wait too long. It doesn't stick. Don't watch. And that's exactly why the field collapses. You get out of the way. What few understand is that the mind that wants to control is the same one that is stuck in the past. She seeks to control the future because it's still trying to correct unintegrated wounds. She doesn't want to manifest something new. She wants to make sure the old pain does not repeat. And that is why effort is born. You are not co-creating with enthusiasm. You are trying to prove you deserve it. Make sure you don't fail. Make up for what you lacked. But in the quantum field, this energy is not compatible with conscious manifestation, because the collapse of reality does not happen by force. It happens by coherence frequency. And coherence cannot be sustained when its basis is fear disguised as spiritual productivity. The truth that liberates and also disturbs is this: you're making an effort because you still believe you need to convince the universe to give you something. But the universe is not a judge. You are not analyzing its merit. It is not demanding proof. He's just a mirror. It reflects, with absolute precision, the vibrational state that you sustain effortlessly. And if your field is vibrating with urgency, the need to guarantee constant vigilance, so this is what manifests itself. Realities that require more effort, more control, more struggle. This is the trap. You try harder, trust less, controls everything, and blocks the flow. So reality doesn't flow, it gets stuck, and you conclude that something is wrong. But it isn't. There's only an inversion of logic. In the quantum field, what creates is the state of being, not the action plan. What sustains the vibration is not the list of goals, but the quality of your presence in the now. It's not about abandoning the movement, but to abandon the obsession with the result. Action, in the quantum field, is not motivated by urgency. It is driven by internal coherence. You act because it overflows, not because it is missing. You move because you are in a state of silent certainty, not because you need to run after it. The key question here is, are you acting to reach reality, or are you acting like you already belong there? This difference changes everything, because true manifestation does not begin with expectation. It starts with the wholeness. You don't move to get it. You move because it has already become. When doing is born from being, effort disappears. Control dissolves, the field understands, and everything that seemed stuck, unlock. As with what we call vibrational inversion, when you stop trying to hold on to reality and start sustaining it. You hold on to something you fear losing. You sustain something you know you already are. And it is this support that the field recognizes as ready. Want a simple sign that you're on the right track? Observe your body. If there is chronic tension, shortness of breath, fatigue for no reason, you are vibrating defense. If there is lightness, openness, availability, you are vibrating trust. The body never lies because he is the first translator in the field, and he will show you with brutal honesty whether your desire is coming from love or fear. So here's the invitation. Stop trying to manifest. Start listening to what your field is trying to tell you, not about what you want, but about how much you still try to control the uncontrollable. The most powerful manifestation does not come from control. It arises from the collapse of control. And when that collapse happens, you realize you never had to force it. It was enough. There's a silent belief that permeates most manifestation processes. It's subtle, almost invisible, but extremely limiting. The reality I want is still in the future. This premise seems innocent. After all, it's natural to desire something that hasn't happened yet. But on the quantum plane, this is an illusion. Because in the field of infinite possibilities, time is not a line, it is a field. All versions of reality, the you that thrives, the you that loves, the you that heals, already exist, vibrating in parallel frequencies, waiting for only one thing. May you tune into them now. Yes, now. Not when everything is resolved, not when you are ready, now. And this is what most people ignore. You don't reach the desired reality, you access. And access does not happen through logic, it happens through vibration. The collapse point of a new reality line is not some distant moment in the future. It is in parallel, at the distance of a displacement of identity. But here comes the most common obstacle. Your belief system still operates in linear time. You learn that you need to wait for the right time. That needs to climb steps, evolve little by little, plant and then harvest. And yes, there is wisdom in that, but not on the quantum plane. In the field of infinite possibilities, waiting is not a stage, it is an interference. Every time you say to yourself, one day it will happen, I'm going towards, I'm getting closer and closer, you reinforce that it's not there yet, and the field responds. Keeping your reality in almost mode, in not yet mode, in future mode. But the collapse of reality does not happen in the future. It happens in the now deep. And here is the vibrational key. What you call future is actually a frequency that you have not yet inhabited. This is a deep internal rupture, because it requires you to stop projecting yourself forward and start to align to the side. Yes, the vibrational side of who you need to be. And that cannot be achieved with more effort. It is achieved with vibrational agreement. The reality you desire already exists as a possible line, and this line already contains all the variables, right people, right places, specific synchronicities, but they won't find you in time. They will find you at corresponding frequency. So your job is not to get there. It is to sustain your state of being as if it was already there. And this is no illusion. It's not pretending. It's vibrational physics. When you start to energetically inhabit the version of you that lives the desired reality, the field reorganizes itself, because he recognizes that you are no longer trying. You it is. And being on the field is the only criterion for collapse. It's as if reality is always asking, who is available now for this version? And the answer doesn't come from your mouth. It comes from your vibrational signature. If you give off a coming soon signal, the field responds, more waiting. If you feel like I'm almost there, he answers almost. But if you vibrate I already am, he has no alternative. He collapses. Now this is the twist of the demonstration. You don't walk towards her, and this displacement is not physical, it is identity. So the tipping point here is not to do more. It is decided more deeply, deciding to vibrate from the reality you desire, even when the external has not yet confirmed anything. Yes, that requires almost scandalous trust, a boldness to be before seeing, to sustain before proving, to vibrate before touching. But this is the price of vibrational freedom. You abandon time as an argument and start using the to be as a path. So now I ask you, you are waiting for reality to change, or is willing to collapse a new reality when changing who is waiting? This is the tipping point, the access point, the real collapse of time. The reality line you want is not far away. It's next door, and it only reveals itself when you stop looking and starts to occupy. Have you ever noticed how many people get into an exhausting cycle of manifestation? One day they are vibrating with certainty, confidence, and vision. In the other, they have already plunged into doubt, fear, and maybe it won't work for me. This oscillation is not your fault. It is a reflection of ancient conditioning. The idea that you need to force yourself to keep your vibration high. But here's the truth no one told you. Vibrational coherence is not about effort. It has to do with stability. The coherence that collapses realities is not noisy. It doesn't require you to be happy all the time, even if you feel mystical or elevated 24 hours a day. She only demands one thing: may your vibration stop contradicting itself, because that's what creates noise in the field. It's not fear alone, it is not a passing doubt, and the oscillating pattern of being two at the same time. I want to, but I don't know if I can. I believe, however. What if it goes wrong? This back and forth is like a radio signal that changes stations every second. The universe doesn't know what to collapse, so it collapses nothing. Therefore, coherence is not about vibrating high. It's about stopping vibrating in confusion. And for that, you don't need to always be inspired. You need to be stable. Stability is the new name for real manifestation. It is when your vibration sustains the same code long enough for the field to understand. Ah, that's what you're being now. And then he answers, with mathematical precision. What keeps manifestation suspended is not the absence of desire. It is the absence of vibrational consistency. And that consistency only appears when you abandon performance, when you stop trying to prove that you believe, and starts to just inhabit the frequency as something natural. Have you ever seen how an antenna works? She doesn't scream. She keeps the frequency stable, and the signal propagates. You are that antenna. But most people still try to convince the field with emotional spikes. Intense viewing one day, forgetfulness the next. Affirmations repeated with anxiety. Meditations done in a hurry as if they were a task. All of this generates an unstable signal, i.e., noise. And the universe does not collapse noise. It collapses, clarity maintained. Now attention, this doesn't mean you have to be fine all the time. It doesn't mean you can never doubt again. It just means you need to recognize moments of incoherence and choose to return. This is the real invisible work of manifestation. Realizing when you've lost your way and come back. Return to the body, return to presence, return to the original vibration of who you already are. This is coherence. It's not rigid. It's constant, and constancy does not come from effort, comes from an internal decision to no longer negotiate with fragmented versions of oneself. Now imagine that you are a tuning fork, an instrument tuned to a specific note. If you sustain this note lightly, the entire universe begins to vibrate with it. But if with each emotion you change the tone, the field can't keep up, and the collapse is undone before it even happens. Therefore, the key question of this block is not, are you vibrating loudly? But yes, you are vibrating the same sign for long enough. This is the real manifestation, the one that happens when you stop chasing emotional peaks and start choosing stability. It doesn't matter if reality hasn't responded yet. You already answered, and the universe only needs one thing to collapse. Let your answer be clear, and may it remain. This is the point of maturity of the manifestation. When you understand that the field responds to stability accurately, not with drama, not with magic, with precision. And that's why now, more than enthusiasm, you need presence. More than euphoria, you need coherence. More than believing, you need to sustain the version of you that you already know. You spent your life believing you had to earn it, deserve love, deserve abundance, deserve rest, deserve to exist with lightness. This idea has been repeated so many times by parents, by schools, by religions, by the market, that today you think it's normal to think, have I done enough to manifest what I want? But here's the mistake. Frequency is not earned. Frequency is accessed, and more. You don't manifest when you deserve it. You manifest when allowing yourself to feel what has always been available. This permission, however, is frightening, because it requires you to abandon an entire structure built on effort as identity. Look, how many times have you found yourself trying to prove value, not just for others, but for the universe itself? I will meditate every day, then things will happen. I will make affirmations for 21 days in a row, then the field will notice me. If I am high enough, maybe I can. All these attempts have a common root, the idea that you need to deserve the right frequency. But this frequency is already you. It's just buried under layers of judgment, comparison, fear, and control. The problem was never lack of merit. It was too much interference. Interference from inner voices saying it's not time yet, that you need to improve, understand more, evolve more before allowing yourself to feel what is already yours. But if you look at the quantum field, at the most fundamental reality of the universe, you see something else. The field does not respond to effort. He responds to vibrational signatures present. And that means that to collapse a new reality, you don't need to do more. You need to do less than it disconnects you. Menos car rental. Less need for control, less mental rigidity, less inherited conditioning. Because the frequency you seek is not a destination. It's a return to your original vibration, the one that existed before the guilt, before doubt, before the need to be accepted. This is why the greatest vibrational leaps happen in moments of surrender. When you let go, when you give up control, when you stop watching the field for signs and becomes the sign itself. Maybe you've never heard this, but the universe does not need your vigilance. He just needs your vibrational wholeness. This wholeness is not achieved, it is remembered. And that remembrance requires letting go of everything you thought you needed to be. Allowing yourself to feel peace. For example, without first resolving everything. Allow yourself to vibrate abundance even with open accounts. Allow yourself to be enough without external proof. It seems contradictory, but it is quantum, because at the quantum level is the sustained feeling that precedes reality, and not the other way around. While you wait for something to change out there so you can feel different, you are stuck in linear logic. The one that says, first the world changes, then I allow myself to feel. But in the quantum field, it's the opposite. First you feel, then the field collapses the reality coherent with that feeling. And that's why so many demonstrations fail, because vibrational permission is blocked by an effort-based identity. Allowing is an act of courage, courage to disobey your mental pattern, courage to feel ready before everything seems ready, courage to inhabit abundance before the result, courage to vibrate certainty even when nothing out there confirms it. This is real spiritual maturity. Do not force the manifestation, but allow it to reveal itself through you. And what prevents this? The idea that you are the isolated creator of your reality, when in fact you are a channel where reality is organized, when the channel is clean. And what cleansed this channel? Presence, delivery, disidentification with old vibrational characters. It's no longer about becoming someone who can manifest. It's about stopping insisting on being someone who doesn't speak out. You are not here to reach a frequency. You are here to remember which is already her. And that doesn't happen with fighting. It happens with permission. You can affirm every day, I am prosperous. I trust the universe. It's all coming at the right time. But if deep within your body the fear of not having still echoes within, the doubt of not being enough, the urgency of needing to prove something, so that's what the field answers. Quantum manifestation does not follow its discourse. She follows what is recorded in her nervous system. And here's one of the most uncomfortable truths. The unconscious vibrates higher than the conscious mind, because he is the one who sustains the frequency while you don't realize it. He is the one who carries the invisible script of your reality. He is the one who sends signals to the field when you're not looking. Look, you don't manifest what you desire more strongly. You manifest what believed it to be true, even if he never verbalized it. And where are these truths stored? Not unconscious, or better, in your body, in your emotional patterns, in your micro-reactions to life. Want an example? You can say, I want to be seen, but if when you enter a room your energy contracts, if you avoid direct gaze, if your physical posture still vibrates, don't notice me too much, then the field responds to that, not to your mantra. Because in the quantum field, what you feel consistently is more decisive than what you say with intention. And here a crucial question arises. Who is really in charge of your vibrational signature? Most of the time, it's not the rational you, and you are shaped by childhood, by pain, by inherited fears. It's conditioned you. The self that learned to survive, not to manifest. The self that developed beliefs like, it is wrong to want too much. I need to deserve everything I get. I can't relax, otherwise everything goes wrong. If I'm fine, something bad will happen later. These phrases don't appear in your everyday thoughts, but they operate behind the scenes, silent but powerful, and the field hears them all, because he reads the vibration, not the speech. That is why the process of real manifestation is never just external. It is somatic, it is emotional, it is neurological. You need to reprogram the base, not just the top. And this is not done just with positive thinking. It is done with unconscious pattern recognition, embracing the original emotional pain, interruption of the automatic survival circuit. In other words, you don't need to repeat that you trust. You need heal the part of you that still doesn't feel safe to trust. That part doesn't go away with pretty phrases. She needs presence, listening, of space. That is why many masters lightly express, because it's not as much as they want it. That's how much they freed the body from the effort to desire. They collapse what they want because their unconscious is already in harmony with that. They are not trying to convince the field. They are resonating with him. You don't have to be perfect to manifest, but it needs to be coherent. And coherence does not mean aligned thinking, meaning aligned system, thought plus emotion, body plus unconscious. As long as any part vibrates in conflict, the collapse of the desired reality will be partial, unstable, or non-existent. So if you want to change your life, stop trying to convince the world and start listening to the silent signal that your body is emitting right now. Is it contracted or relaxed? Is he in emergency or in presence? Is he expecting an attack or open to receiving? Because it is in this basal state, that of your nonverbal vibration, that manifestation happens. And here's the twist. The unconscious no longer needs to be the saboteur of your reality. He may be the silent engine of your coherence, but for that you need to access it. Look at him. Embrace what is there, without rushing to resolve it, without fear of what might appear. This is the true beginning of vibrational freedom. When you realize you are not a hostage to your programs, but with awareness and courage, it can rewrite the code of those who observe. And by doing so, you don't just change the observer, you change the collapse, you change the field, and the field responds, always, to the deepest truth you emit. You spend your whole life chasing the after, when I have money, when I find someone, when everything falls into place. But what nobody told you is that the quantum field does not recognize the future. He only responds to what it is already now. What you call waiting for life to change is actually sustaining the field of stagnation. Because waiting is a vibration, and vibrations create realities. This is one of the biggest traps of the linear mind, thinking that the result comes first, and only then the change in internal state. But on the quantum plane, this logic is reversed. First, you vibrate like someone who already has it. Then reality reflects this, but the mind doesn't accept this easily. She wants security before delivery, trials before faith, guarantee before presence. But the field does not negotiate with doubts. He doesn't respond to what you're going to be. It collapses what you are being now, right now, this second. And that is as powerful as it is liberating, because it means that you are not far from the reality you desire. You are just misaligned with the version of yourself that could collapse you. Let's dig deeper. You are watching this video looking for answers. But what if the only answer is this? What you're looking for is already here, but you are searching with the wrong vibration. It's like trying to pick up a radio station on the wrong frequency. You swear there's nothing in the air, but the problem isn't the signal, it's the tuner. Now imagine, what if you stopped seeking the external frequency and start be the frequency you want? Instead of asking, when will it happen, you ask, how can I behave now as if I already know what's going to happen? What gesture, what silence, what breath represents this certainty? This change is subtle, but everything changes with it, because you stop waiting for external signs to enter into your presence, and it begins to emit internal signals that collapse the external. The mind will resist. She'll say, this is an act, but it's not pretending. It is anchoring your field in the invisible realm, and that is the role of the conscious observer. Don't force the field, but vibrate before collapse. The reality you seek is not 6 months from now. She is in parallel with you now, but it can only be accessed by those who, have you stopped sabotaging yourself, has already reprogrammed the unconscious, and is living as if you know it already worked. You've come this far looking for an endpoint, but what you might start to realize is that there is no end where everything vibrates in cycles. The manifestation you want is not an event, it's a state of being. And that changes everything. Because as long as you believe that collapse is a prize, we'll continue trying to deserve. But when you understand that the collapse is echo of your field, you stop struggling and it starts to exist coherently. This is the great quantum shift. You no longer have to struggle to manifest. You need stop interfering with your own vibration. Let's look clearly. How many times have you done everything, and yet you felt that life wasn't moving forward? The question was never how much you did. It was how much you were trying to compensate for an inconsistency. Every excessive attempt at effort arises from the feeling that something is missing. But this feeling, even unconscious, turns the code that the field reads. And what does he answer? More absence, more almost, more effort. And then you get tired. But this is not a failure, and a sign that your energy can no longer support living in contradiction. And this, paradoxically, is the beginning of liberation. It is when doing gives way to allow. It's when control dissolves into silent confidence. It is when the logic of the ego bows to the elegance of the field. The universe does not respond to your effort. It responds to your energetic integrity. Integrity here is not moral. It is vibrational. It's when thought, emotion, body, and presence dance to the same tune. This alignment does not require shouting. It does not require urgency. Does not require performance. It only requires return to the center. And maybe for the first time, you'll stop asking questions like, how do I attract this? What else do I need to do? Am I doing it right? And start asking other questions. What still vibrates within me as a lack? What part of me still believes I can't? Where am I still trying to prove myself? These questions don't keep you out of the field. They return you to it, like a knot that begins to unravel with the simple touch of consciousness. Because the more you know yourself, the more the universe recognizes you. And this recognition is the collapse. You stop being someone asking for permission to express yourself and become someone who remembers who it is. And who is that someone? It is the one that does not need to be proven. Don't even scream. Don't even run after it. It is the one that is already tuned. And because of that, the field curves, silently, naturally, inevitably. Maybe now you realize the real work was never to convince the universe. He undid the noises that prevented your frequency from being pure. And when it is, the rest comes. No rush, effortlessly, undoubtedly. The reality that seemed so distant becomes as natural as breathing. So ask no more. When will it happen? Ask, how can I maintain this vibe even when nothing out there has changed? Because whoever sustains the field inevitably collapses it. And when the collapse comes, there is no noise, just that specific silence. When everything finally, it makes sense. So realize, if something in you shook during this journey, maybe it wasn't just because you heard new ideas. Maybe it was because recognized a place to which he always belonged. If this recognition demands continuity, let it guide you. There are paths that don't need to be explained, just walked alongside those who vibrate on the same frequency. Feel whether it's time to take that step. If the answer comes in the form of expansion, even if silent, you already know where to find us. The universe understands vibrations, not justifications. Allow yourself to follow the calling that has just arisen within you. Everything else, as always, will collapse due to resonance.